The year is 2060, and you are currently 142 million miles away from the sun. One full day consists of 24 hours and 37 minutes, and there are 687 days in a calendar year. The surface of gravity is 62% less than Earth, which would make you approximately 1/3 of your weight on Earth. You are orbiting the sun at an average speed of 14.5 miles per second. The planet you are living on has 2 moons in orbit, Phobos and Deimos, and the average temperature is -81 degrees Fahrenheit. The president is Elon Musk. Your vehicle is a Tesla rover, and your transportation to and from work is through an underground hypersonic travel tunnel. Your daily communications in life occur simultaneously through an implanted microchip in your brain called a Neuralink. By now, being in the year 2060, it will mark the 10th anniversary that humans have colonized this place. You arrive to this destination by taking flight in a spaceship through a company called SpaceX. But where are you? And what kind of world are you in? Speaking hypothetically, you are living on the red planet, also known as Mars. Now, of course, you know we have not colonized Mars yet as human beings. But this is a very entertaining idea and has been talked about by various influential people over the past few decades. In this video, we will discuss the company SpaceX and how it's striving towards one day being able to colonize humans on Mars in the near future. Let's take a moment to rewind back into the history archives to highlight some past progress made in space travel. The German V-2 missile was the first ever man-made object to break orbit into space. Launched in 1942 on a test flight, it was crewless and reached an altitude of 117 miles, 189 kilometers. Later, both the US and Russia appointed former Nazi rocket scientists who were instrumental in designing and developing ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. These were the rockets capable of transporting nuclear weapons from one side of the planet to the other. ICBMs paved the foundation for space programs for these countries. As it happened, it was Russia that reached the Earth's orbit first when its crewless Sputnik 1 was launched in October 1957. A month later, they launched Sputnik 2. But this time, it was carrying a dog named Laika, the first live animal in space. The very next year, in January 1958, the United States sent Explorer 1, its first crewless satellite, into orbit. Soon, an assortment of space flights followed from both countries. It was on April 12, 1961, that the first human being was sent to space when Yuri Gagarin, a Russian cosmonaut, piloted Vostok 1 into orbit. This was when the space race began, resulting in Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin becoming the first humans to walk on the moon as part of NASA's Apollo 11 mission on July 20th, 1969. Let's now fast forward another 30 years and take a look at how SpaceX ended up entering the space flight industry. In 2002, an optimistic rocket startup company endorsed a wild vision, sending humans to space. 18 years later, in May 2020, SpaceX and its founder Elon Musk brought that vision into reality. The Crew Dragon, designed by SpaceX, flew 2 NASA astronauts to the International Space Station and brought them back safely to Earth. It was the first time that a private spacecraft company transported astronauts into orbit. The achievement came right in time when a host of private spacecraft companies across the globe were beginning to take off. SpaceX's new milestone has pushed private spaceflight into a new era. This successful launch could forever change how we think about transporting people into space. Before we look at what life will be like on Mars, let's first discuss an overview of the company SpaceX and what they do as a corporation. SpaceX is a privately held space company garnered by the leadership of Elon Musk. The company currently builds and launches 2 rockets, the Falcon Heavy and the Falcon 9. What makes these rockets different from others is that the booster stages of these rockets return to Earth after pushing the spacecraft into orbit, which allows for refurbishment and reuse of them. This not only saves money, but also enables SpaceX to have more competitive prices amongst its competitors. What's interesting is they also build and fly a space capsule named Dragon, which is designed to carry crew and necessary cargo to the International Space Station. Elon Musk's overall goal for Dragon is to carry private astronauts into space in this capsule. Most people don't realize it, but these are the small steps towards achieving something much greater. The latest news with the company is that SpaceX is currently working on designing and developing a spacecraft and rocket system dubbed as Starship. Initially, in the early stages, it is designed to carry massive cargoes into orbit. However, the long-term goal is to have this spacecraft be used to transport people to Mars for long-lasting relocation and habitation. In another area relating to space, SpaceX is also launching a project called Starlink, which is a massive collection of small satellites designed to provide worldwide high-speed internet access. Accordingly, the plan is to have around 1,000 small satellites to initially be released into the atmosphere. While it's still in the development phase, some officials have shown their concern that these satellites might create some atmospheric pollution and possibly interfere with planetary research. However, the overall end goal of this program is to be able to have satellites in orbit all over the globe to allow anyone high-speed internet access wherever they may be. The big question that continues to arise around SpaceX is it making spaceflight cheaper? It goes without saying that this technology involves extremely high costs. It is not easy, nor is it cheap, to be able to build rocket ship prototypes to test their flight into space, only to see what issues occur that need to be re-engineered for future designs. Well, regarding the hefty price tag around spaceflight, SpaceX's answer lies within its technology. In 2012, SpaceX advertised Falcon 9 with a launch price of $57 million. Falcon 9 is a two-stage rocket designed and developed by SpaceX for transporting people into space. At that time, the market was dominated by a French company called Arianespace. Arianespace was not only dominating the market of rocket launches, but also had a head start of more than 30 years over SpaceX. As of most recently, SpaceX stated that the cost of launching Falcon 9 is now estimated around $62 million. Moreover, the new Falcon Heavy spacecraft has an estimated cost of almost $90 million per launch. In a recent interview, Elon Musk hinted at how his space company has accomplished cost-effective rocket launches. According to Musk, SpaceX is vertically integrated, and the company has built the entire supply chain from the ground up, from electronic components to rocket engines and everything in between. As a result, SpaceX was able to innovate in its processes and technology. For example, the engineering department and the production floor are situated right next door to each other in SpaceX's factory. The reason for this? Faster turnaround time with the addition of improved levels of communication. Secondly, its two-stage rockets carry only a single set of fuel tanks that are used across both stages of flight. In comparison, competitor rockets use 3 sets of propellants for 2 stages, so you can presume that the reduction of the cost of specific components, such as electronics and sensors for example, also helps SpaceX reduce prices. With SpaceX successfully launching reusable rockets, it's inevitable that the company will further bring down the cost of future launches. One great thing about reusable rocket technology is that it adds economies of scale to operations. Hence, the price becomes even more competitive with every future executed launch. In some instances, it has been said that certain components can be reused up to 100 times before needing to be replaced. Elon Musk's dream to send humans to the Red Planet, and with the successful launches of its 2 primary space rockets, he is closing the gap to bringing humanity to its next giant leap, or at least getting closer to placing Tesla cars into space. The overall mission of SpaceX is to make humanity a multi-planetary species. So what is it about planet Mars that Elon thinks we will be capable of colonizing one day? Well, to start off, Mars is one of the closest habitable planets compared to Earth, with the next closest distance to the Sun of around 142 million miles away. The solar day is also very close to that of Earth's, as one day consists of 24 hours and 37 minutes. Mars' total surface area is 28% of what Earth's is, which would equate to roughly the total dry land mass on Earth. The red planet also has an axial tilt of 25.19 degrees, which is close to the Earth's tilt of 23.44 degrees. This would account for year-round seasons very similar to Earth. One thing to note with Mars compared to Earth is the total days in one calendar year is 687, making Mars's seasonal changes to be twice as long as Earth's. There have also been observations of water ice on Mars, which would be necessary for humans to survive. However, these observations have been scarce. On the contrary, there are also differences amongst the two planets. One current factor unknown is how the gravity on Mars would affect humans. Mars's gravitational force is only 3.7 meters per second, compared to Earth's gravitational force of 9.8 meters per second. Microgravity, if exposed to humans over extended periods of time, has been known to lead to health issues, such as muscle loss and bone demineralization. Another is the low atmospheric pressure on Mars, which could not be overcome by humans without special pressure suits, or habitable structures would need to be created with pressure vessel technology similar to a spacecraft. The atmosphere is also toxic, as it consists of 95% carbon dioxide, with the remaining elements being 3% nitrogen, 1.6% argon, and other trace gases such as oxygen totaling less than 0.4%. Because the atmosphere is also very thin, it doesn't block UV light very well, which causes instability in molecular bonds between atoms. The climate is also much colder than Earth, with temperatures ranging anywhere between -125 to 23 degrees Fahrenheit. The closest earthly comparison to temperatures in these ranges is only in Antarctica. One of the largest concerns and differences between Mars and Earth is the lack of sufficient water sources, as humans can only survive a few days without it. Proper recycling systems would need to be put into place so that we could reuse any source of water that's produced. Although it would not come without many challenges along the way, if humans were to successfully colonize the red planet, according to SpaceX, it will take Starship about 6 months to reach Mars, crossing 2 moons and orbiting 14 satellites. As far as SpaceX has come in their journey, they have their work cut out for them in the years to come. So it's anybody's guess, but maybe, just maybe in the next 40 years, Elon may colonize Mars. Space exploration is the future. It doesn't just satisfy our urge to travel and explore, but could even provide humans with a new place to call home. With Earth being increasingly overpopulated, it is time that we conceptualize interplanetary possibilities. We hope you enjoyed this video, and please do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For more interesting videos like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and most importantly, share. Until then, we will see you soon in the next video.